What's up guys, today I'm bringing you a video basically designed to be a beginner's guide to anyone who just got Mayday for like PS3, PS4, and the PC. This is just basically going to be a general guide giving you some pro tips on how to beat it for your first time if you've just downloaded it. In no way is this like a super ultimate guide sort of thing where I'm showing you everything. It's more just giving you some pro tips on how to beat it for your first time. There will be links down in the description to those sort of more in-depth guides videos though if you're looking for it. But moving into beating it, the first thing you're probably going to be thinking about is loadout. And what I generally recommend is if you're going one player, go engineer. If you're adding a second player, have a medic. If you're adding a third player, add a weapon specialist. And the fourth player, either have another weapon specialist or another engineer. That's what I generally recommend. Everything else isn't overly important. I mean, for your ammo, I'd either go probably armor piercing or stun. I find that can be good, but it really comes down to your preference and what you find is helpful. But the one thing I do recommend is having sentry guns. I find that is very crucial for like the chlorine gas and the Kraken. Now, moving into the map, I mean, the beginning is pretty easy. You know, you should probably expect that. What I generally recommend is your biggest focus should just be at the start getting skill points. If you don't get the first three, like the two hives and then the Kraken, just restart, because it really, you're gonna have a lot of struggles down the road if you don't get those first three easy ones. So really focus on just getting your skill points at this point. And you probably have room over the whole map maybe to miss 3 or 4 in total. I wouldn't go any more than 4. If you miss more than 4 or 2 in the first 2 areas, like, you're gonna be struggling. Now, as you're going through here, don't actually open up those first 2 optional doors. Wait a little bit and go back to that after you get your Venom schematic. For the tentacle, this is pretty easy. It gets more health as you add players, so keep that in mind, but it should just take a few clips of like a shotgun, or if you get lucky enough to get an LMG in a locker like I did in this gameplay, it shouldn't be too difficult. Now, as you get into the second area, open up the door on the right first so you can get your Venom schematic, and have all 4 players, if you have all 4, or if you have 2, have all 2 players, get your Venom schematic and have them get 2/3 of the Venom first. Your third thing is going to be your Biolum, and you want to make sure everybody has the 2 things before you go searching for Biolum, because sometimes you'll get a greedy teammate who just goes through and just picks them all up, and he wants to get this one, and then you don't even have a Venom X. Well, that's really stupid and really detrimental, because Venom X is really important for the rhinos at this bit, as well as like the cedars and things like that. So you really want to make sure everyone has a Venom X. So let everybody get the 2/3 and then just go looking for Biolums and take whatever you want. I recommend the fire probably and the blue. Hopefully you can get all 4 Venom X's crafted and only 12 buildables, because the other thing you're going to want to start focusing on are flares, which we will briefly mention. So flares are really helpful towards the end, and when you leave this area, make sure, as long as everyone has their Venom X built, make sure that everybody actually has a flare schematic. Now you see here we went back at this point because my friend, the guy I'm playing with, didn't have the rights. He didn't have the right Biolum, so we went back to those doors, got the Biolum, and then I think I got the schematic for sticky flares. So you see what I'm saying is you want to make sure sticky flares, everybody goes up into the next area, because this is the last room that you can actually get the schematic for. And there's going to be a whole bunch of buildable boxes, or like schematic boxes, like the toolboxy looking things up top. So if you don't have anything to pick up, it's just going to be a waste. So make sure that all players grab a sticky flare schematic. Now for this last door, I find a lot of people will have trouble on this one. This is generally, I would say, the hardest of this area. You are going to get a rhino no matter what, but a big problem I see is people don't turn on the traps. So have your engineer turn on the traps, because they really help clean up, especially against the cedars. Hopefully you have like a couple people with Venom X's at this point, because that'll help the rhinos, taking them out, all that stuff. Generally though, this shouldn't give you so much of a problem, as more it's just good planning. Now, one little pro tip is as you're going up in that like cargo container, you can jump out, and if you have sentries down here, you can pick them up, which is really helpful. If you're just trying to save points, that's gonna really, you know, just give you that little bit extra money. You can use your sentries for this next area. You don't have to ditch them. Now, this area is pretty easy, but only if you're smart. So this one isn't too bad, I would say. You can just kind of camp down below with some sentries and turn the traps on above, and it shouldn't really give you too much problems. If you get the other one over in the corner, there's only 2 hives in this area. You may have more difficulty. The cedars can really be a problem there, but this one is definitely easier of the 2. And then the last one in this area that you always automatically get is this one up top on the big platform. And turn the traps on. There's 2 traps you can do right on the electric fence. It'll like protect your sentries, it'll protect your drill, it'll basically protect everything. It's really helpful. But this is the one I usually find I go down on solo, not so much with a team, but if I'm gonna like get a down, it'll usually be at about this point. Now moving on to the next area, this is really a lot easier than most people make it seem. So there's a hive that's right by the door I'm gonna walk, or the staircase I'm gonna walk up, that I don't have it. But that one's really easy because you can just actually camp outside and just look down the hallway and just shoot and protect the drill. Just a little pro tip there. But the hardest one is definitely the one that we're on right now over in this far corner by the door. If you are gonna get this one, do it first because like I said, it's the hardest and there's really no great strategy. Now the one up top on that, like in the other corner, the opposite corner, is actually really easy with sentries. So you see how we have 3 just like lined up there? It makes this one a piece of cake. And also one, just keep note of that circle in the middle there. We'll come back to that in a sec. But if you put the 3 sentries up over here, it will just wreck house and make that easy. And then the last one that you have of the 3 is this one. It's like kind of in the middle. And this one can also be really easy if you put sentries over in this corner, like I like to put it up on the crate. And then the last thing we have here is the chlorine gas. Now remember how I said that circle in the middle on that platform? If you have a guy over there with either putting 1 or 2 sentries on, and then have another guy put sentries on each side, kind of protecting the chlorine gas, but also ranging out, looking onto the catwalk, this is a piece of cake. It's so easy. A lot of people have trouble with this. This is probably the hardest bit of the mission, I will admit. Sentries are your key here. I mean, feel free to use a couple flares. Hopefully you have, I would say have 7 going into the, or sorry, not 7. I would say have 4 going into the boss. We had 7, I think, at this point. I had 3, he had 4 built as a 2-player. But really, you know, as long as you have 4 for the boss, the Kraken, it shouldn't be too bad. Now, as for the actual Kraken fight, a lot of people think that this is hard, and I'm here to tell you that I'm sorry, but you're actually wrong. This is probably the easiest bit. I shouldn't say the easiest bit, but it's a lot easier than people make it seem. The turrets are key. So if you have one person, really, I just go on the turret, and I just basically protect myself with the turret, shoot the guys, and when I get a free opening, I shoot the Kraken. The turret is so much better than your actual gun, so it actually doesn't even make sense to use a gun. So really, just kind of rinse, repeat, and cycle. Go back and forth, and just use the turret. If you have two people, you can have 1 guy in the turret, 1 guy protecting him. If you have 4, you can have 2 guys on turrets and 2 guys protecting the guys on turrets. Really easy, okay? Really easy. Use the turrets just to kill the aliens, and then when you get the chance, you can shoot it at the Kraken, and it should take 3 or 4 times going back and forth. Use your flares because you know you save them up. Just use them now if at all anything gets hectic, and that's pretty much it, guys. So hopefully that was just a good like little pro tip video just to give you some advice and all that stuff. If that helped you, leave a like. If you could subscribe if you're new to the channel, that would also be cool. And I will talk to you later, guys. Peace out. Hopefully that helped you in some way. Bye. Oh, and go follow me on Twitter.